Which way are you inclined to vote at the moment?
I'm waiting to see what the DUP will do. The deal is still a very bad deal. It doesn't deliver on the promises of the Conservative Party manifesto, and it doesn't deliver on the referendum result in full. The question people like me will ultimately have to answer is, can we get to no deal instead? If we can get to no deal instead, that is a better option. It means that we will have left and that we will have restored our nation's independence. But I'm concerned that the Prime Minister, in spite of her previous commitments, is determined to stop no deal, that she has come to the conclusion that it's either her deal or some form of remaining. I think a 2-year extension is basically remaining in the European Union. So those are the considerations people have to think through. But if we can get to no deal, that would be the best option.
And how do you see that? How would that course be charted?
Well, no deal is the law. So the Prime Minister, to do anything other than that, would need to get the agreement of the European Union for an extension and then for Parliament to accept that extension. Now, there are two versions that the Prime Minister could come back with. One would be a long extension, which is basically not leaving, and the other would be a short extension if she'd got her deal through. So that then requires a statutory instrument to be passed, which, if you look at the numbers in the House of Commons last week, would be relatively straightforward.
So no deal is better than a bad deal?
No deal is better than a bad deal, but a bad deal is better than remaining in the European Union, in the hierarchy of deals.
Isn't that what some say is almost Mrs May's tactic now, which is, this is your Brexit, Mr Rees-Mogg, or you're never going to get it?
Well, that's right. That the tactic seems to be to threaten people on either side. So say to people like me, well, if you don't vote for my bad deal, you'll never leave, and to people who are Remainers, if you don't vote for my bad deal, we'll leave without any deal. I think that last bit has gone. I think the Prime Minister is no longer saying that, because she personally is determined not to leave without a deal, and the Chancellor has said the same. How they managed to stand on a manifesto that said no deal is better than a bad deal, I do not know. That the Humpty Dumpty approach to the English language, words meaning what they choose them to mean, is something that is of grave concern, because what you saw last week in the House of Commons was an extraordinary divergence, disconnection between our elected representatives and the British people. The British people voted to leave, and by 2/3 to 1/3, the House of Commons voted to obstruct leaving. And that's something that we should be concerned about, because that is not good for the body politic.
Although they would argue it's democracy.
Well, the democracy surely was the referendum on what people said in their manifestos. I don't think it's particularly democratic to break your manifesto pledges. And both the Labour Party and the Conservative Party said that they would respect the referendum result. And now they've said that they want a postponement.
And lastly, before we go to the calls, why is the DUP so key, would you say? Why might that carry your vote?
Well, ultimately, the United Kingdom is more important to me than the European Union. And so if the DUP felt that the United Kingdom were being divided up in the deal, then that would mean it was impossible to vote for the deal under any circumstances. The one thing that would have changed my mind in 2016 was had I believed the scare stories that Scotland would leave the United Kingdom if we voted to leave. I didn't think it was true, and therefore I was happy to vote to leave. But the United Kingdom is my country, and I don't want to see my country chopped up. So the DUP's position is very significant.